Season 5, baby.
Season 5. Can you tell that something's different in here?
Your favorite no BS Toronto Maple Leaf podcast is officially back. What's up, everybody? I'm Rob Furnish, and with me, as always, my co-pilot for the last 5 seasons is my brother Ryan.
5 seasons. I love how the growth is just exponential. We're just getting better. We're upgrading. We're getting more subscribers, more listeners. And season 5, I'm pumped, man. Especially this. Look at this place. Look at this. It's a palace in here.
It is. Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it
Goat.
a palace.
Yeah, we're kind of squished.
We're kind of squished in here, but you know what? It gives it sort of like a radio studio vibe. And you and I have always joked about this podcast that we are essentially like we're a podcast, but we do our best sports radio impression.
Well, that's just what we grew up doing. That's all we've done our whole lives. So it's just natural to us. And this is a serious radio vibe in here. But for video listeners, I'm going to have to just get used to kind of just
looking over,
turning this way instead of looking at you diagonally in the past.
So if you go back through the archives of this podcast, there are 2 topics that we have discussed ad nauseum: contracts and goaltending. And going in to this new Leaf season, training camp started earlier today. The 2 main points of discussion were none other than contracts and goaltending. I know that you're fired up to talk more contracts.
Well, let's get into it. Let's fire up. What do you want to do first? Contracts, goaltending.
So let's start with contracts, and let's start with a little off-ice contract. Jonas Siegel wrote a piece in The Athletic earlier this week that was sort of bringing to light Kyle Dubas' contract status and that he's on the last year of his deal. So he has his opening media availability today, and he's asked about it. And he was, listen, I'll give Kyle a ton of credit. Like, he was pretty blunt and forthcoming. He was like, apparently him and Brendan Shanahan met at the end of last season, and Shanny told him that he wasn't going to extend him. And Dubas said he's okay with that, and he's okay with being judged by how the team does this year. So it's like ballsy to answer that and admit that. But then, obviously, you flip on the radio and whatever, and you hear the lame duck GM. He's a lame. Do you want a guy? Ryan, do you want a guy who is on the last year of his contract making decisions for your hockey?
This is just common sense to me. It doesn't make, like, we all know what this is. Like, let's stop trying to dissect it in some sort of way. It's just this guy has been in charge for the past 5 seasons, and they just haven't seen the success. They fail in the same spot every single year. He faces the same criticisms almost every single year, but at the end of the day, they're a team that's competitive and make the playoffs. And at the start of every year, no matter how bad the last one ended, we're back to, is this team going to win the Stanley Cup? Are they a cup team? So he's created that culture here, but we're not dumb. We all know that he is another first-round exit away from being fired, and the president knows that, the fans know that, the media know that. So I don't care if he's a lame duck GM. Like, that's just radio schmangle talk. I don't even know what that means, but it's just, we all know the situation. It's win or get fired.
Typically, though, in the past, we've seen this, and you give him like the golden parachute. Like, you give him another year or 2 extension so he gets paid after they let him go. But I think, what I'm asking is do you think this direction came from the top? Like, do you think ownership, MLSE, looked at Shanny and said, we're not extending this guy until we see? Because it just doesn't. Brendan Shanahan and his relationship with Kyle Dubas and what we know about it, Shanny doesn't strike me as the type of guy who would look at Dubas, who for all intents and purposes is his boy, and go, nah, we're just not going to extend you.
Well, how do you know Brendan Shanahan's not on the hot seat?
Well, that's
I don't know. I don't know Brendan Shanahan. I don't know anything about him. I don't know how he thinks. I thought he kind of would be a president like he played hockey. Rough, tough, smart. But it just hasn't happened that way. He put all his eggs in the Dubas basket, and it hasn't worked out. So when I hear that, it's How do you know that Shanny's not on the hot seat too? Because he's just as responsible for this whole Dubas mess than Dubas is.
I've been someone who for years now has when people rail on Kyle Dubas, I'm the one who speaks up and goes, "What about Brendan Shanahan?"
Yeah. So I'm not surprised. I don't know if it's from ownership. It just seems like Brendan Shanahan and Kyle Dubas have been tied at the hip since both their names were said in the same sentence however many years ago. And to me, I don't know if it's from Shanny or it's from ownership. I don't know. You don't really hear much about Leafs like ownership talk. It's always just general manager, president, or the front and center of everything. And usually media doesn't really report on any sort of ownership dealings with.
Yeah, MLSE is a pretty low profile.
Yeah, like there's lots of professional sports teams where you hear about the crazy owner all the time. It's just that's not how it works in MLSE. But I think both of them are on the hot seat.
Yeah.
That's like Brendan Shanahan is just as responsible for the failures of this team as his hand-picked general manager. So I think they didn't extend Dubas because why would we extend you if basically this is win or you're done, or show us this and we'll keep you. But Brendan Shanahan to me is lumped right into that.
Would you throw Sheldon Keefe in that hot seat discussion as well? I would, because I think he and Dubas are so tied at the hip that if Dubas is gone, Keefe is gone.
I think situationally, like if Dubas is gone, Keefe's gone. But I don't lump Sheldon Keefe in this whole thing. Like I don't know. I personally have always kind of liked Sheldon Keefe, but if Dubas is gone, then Keefe's gone. Like that's just a fact. That's just what's happening. So, I mean, I guess you have to lump him in.
The second piece of contractual business to get to, Auston Matthews. So he tried to put it to bed today, and honestly, cheers to him, because I don't want to spend all season talking about this. So he was asked about it today, and the quote is, "I want to be clear about the contract stuff. I'm going to touch on it today, and that's it. I'm focused on the season, and we'll deal with it then. I love playing here. I consider it home now." And he went on to sort of elaborate on how much he loves playing in Toronto and being a Leaf. So I really hope this is not, he's got 2 years left on his deal. I know with what happened with Matthew Tkachuk over the offseason, and with a year left, he told the Flames he wasn't re-signing. Like, so now it's all been bumped up a year, all the speculation, but I'm happy he said that, because, dude, we got a whole season. Like, the camp opened today. We got a whole season to talk about this team and the ups and downs. I do not want to spend week in and week out going on and on and on about, is he signing? Is he re-signing? What's he like? What do you think about that?
Show me the money. I think that's all this situation is. I'm happy that he came out and he said something that all of us could feel better about. But Nathan McKinnon just signed a $12.6 million contract. So that's the bar. To me, Auston Matthews is a pretty simple dude. He thinks like he is the example of how new hockey players are going to think. Signed short-term deals, even though McKinnon signed an 8-year deal, but he signed a short-term deal because he knew that after he signed that deal, he had the chance to win Rocket Richards and Hart trophies, and he's gone out and done that. He's been their best player, and the Leafs haven't had a player like this in maybe their whole entire franchise. But I just think when I hear this situation, it's at the end of the day, it's going to be show me the money. That's what it is. I don't think he has any problem. I don't think he's going to cry about the guys he's playing with or the team success or the coach or whatever. I think that guy's goal is just to be the first NHL player to sign a $15 million AAV. Like that's where it's at.
A $15 million cap hit.
Yeah.
Well, that's a spoiler. I was going to ask you later in the show what you think it'll be, so we'll ask you again. But wow,
well,
$15 million AAV.
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
I think it's going to be in that conversation, or it's going to be 14 plus for sure. I think that's just what it is. And guess what? You're going to pay it.
Yep, of course you are. Well, you and I have talked about, we should just go public with it right now. If he doesn't resign, you can kiss the Talking Buds podcast goodbye.
Yeah, it's going to be very challenging to do this podcast if he's not around.
Even the games, I was talking with someone about this last night, even the games over the last however many years he's been here, 4 or 5 years, where he's hurt and not playing, I sit and I go, I can't watch this.
Yeah, it's painful.
It is.
It's painful. It's absolutely painful. But at least he came out and said something about it and gave it and gave us some hope in some sort of way, and it wasn't just, oh, well, let my agent deal with that. At least he did say something positive about playing here, which all these happy-go-lucky Leaf fans love hearing, that this is his home. This is his home now.
Well, you joke about that, but let's be honest. You're pretty devastated if he walks too.
Oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. This sucks if he walks.
Yeah, it
What
does.
like? When are they ever going to find a player like him again?
Never.
You know, it's just like if he's demand, it's not going to be a negotiation. This contract,
He's gonna say,
it's
"This
going to
is
be
what
a
I want."
demand,
Yes.
and you're going to pay it.
Yes.
Because you have no choice. And thinking about Maple Leaf hockey without Auston Matthews is disgusting, and it's gross. And I don't want to go another 10 years of coming on this podcast when he's gone saying, well, you know, it'd be great if this team had a number one center. Like, it's just, it is what it is.
Rasmus Sandin did not report to training camp today and continues to hold out for new contract. Speculation online is that he was offered the same deal as Timothy Liljegren, 2 years at $1.4 million cap hit, and Rasmus Sandin feels that he deserves more than Timothy Liljegren, and that's kind of polarizing. I know there's a lot of people who agree with that and a lot of people who disagree with that. Then we learned today that Timothy Liljegren is going to miss the first 2 months of the season recovering from hernia surgery. So not only is Rasmus Sandin holding out and missing camp, there's a spot there that he's also not making himself available for. To me, I don't get this at all. I do not get this, kids. Like, hold on. Let me reset that. If the mentality with him and the agent is, let's lean on Kyle Dubas because we've seen Kyle Dubas concede in the past, whether you agree that he conceded or not, then it's like, okay, but enough's enough. Camp's open. You're a rookie. You've not played enough to warrant any more money than what they've offered you. Get over yourself. Get your ass in camp. Sorry, Rasmus. Sorry. Like, I have no time for this. I think this is stupid.
I agree. This is.
Who do you think you are?
I know.
Like,
I know.
who do you think you are?
I know.
Yeah.
I guess his only argument is, he just hasn't gotten the playing time that he thought he deserved to prove himself to get a bigger deal. I guess that's the only thing I can see him and his agent saying. But it's hilarious to me how he probably wants more than Liljegren, and I think he deserves it. Like, he's been a better player in the NHL when he has played than Liljegren, and he was a higher touted prospect.
I'm not disputing that, but it's like,
yeah, I know. Get your ass to camp.
Yeah.
It's just like at the end of the day, it's like
you've proven your point.
You've done nothing in the NHL.
Yes.
Like, you've done nothing.
Yes.
He's literally done nothing in
Yes.
this league.
Yes.
Like, he's played PP1 a couple times. I guess he could put that in his back pocket, but he's done nothing. It's just, and it's funny too, because it's like, say he does want more than Liljegren. A couple years ago, we were looking at a Mitch Marner situation. It's like, he wants more than Nylander. He wants close to Matthews. We're talking about $10 million here. Like, we're talking about 1.4.
I know.
Like,
I know.
It's like, buddy, just get your ass to camp and like, let's just prove yourself. You're gonna have an opportunity this year to play, because you. Here's what I know: Jake Muzzin's getting hurt at some point this year. That's just straight up facts. And so is another guy on their D-core, and he's gonna get a chance to play, and he's got to get his ass to camp, because we've seen this before. Guys who miss out on the start of camp always start behind the 8 ball. They never come back. Maybe if he signs tomorrow and he shows up, he'll be fine. But if you miss any sort of bit of the season and then you sign and you come back and you're already a guy who lacks the physical skills to play in this league and you're starting behind the 8 ball, like, you're done.
You're done.
Yeah,
and it's like, you also look at like Giordano. Like, Giordano's getting a little long in the tooth. Like, is he going to play all 82? Do you want to rest him sometime? There's another spot to get in the lineup there. I don't know. I just think, like I said, you didn't like the comparison to Liljegren. You've proved your point. Kyle Dubas is not budging. This team is like, they don't have the extra cap space to pay you whatever it is you want, $2 million or whatever. So just sign a 1-year prove it deal. Show up. If you believe in yourself so much that you deserve to get paid that money, show up and do what it is that you think you can do. And guess what? Next year you'll get paid. And if the Leafs don't pay you, somebody else will. We'll trade his rights.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you just got to prove it. I don't get it. It is kind of just irritating. Plus, we're all just, I'm done with this talk about guys signing. Like we've been through this. What is the 4th time going through this? It's just I'm over it. And he's not on the top of like the priority list.
No.
Like it'd be nice to have a defenseman with his, I guess, quote unquote ceiling to be on the team. But at the end of the day, like he's done nothing. He's proved nothing. He's got to just show up and play better and earn himself a spot. So that's why I think everyone, I don't know one person who's like, I think he's doing the right thing. It's like, dude, come on. Like you've done nothing. You've done nothing. Show up and be the defenseman that you think you can be, and you'll be laughing in a couple seasons or next season or the season after that, whatever deal you sign now. But it's just get your ass to camp right now.
So, did you see any of the media stuff today? Like, I know you're working all day. Like, did you see or hear?
I saw the
any
Dubas.
quotes?
I saw the Dubas stuff.
I'm going to give these guys some credit. I was pretty encouraged by what I heard today. They last year after the loss of the Habs, I found them, and when I say them, I mean like the whole team. I found them very like defensive, and this year it was very much like from everyone. Dubas, Keefe, Jake Muzzin in particular, Matthews, Marner. Everyone was very much like, yeah, no, we gotta win. We gotta win in the playoffs. Like I feel like the message has gotten through to everyone. Like, look around this, and you can have an opinion whether it's a year too late or 2 years too late or whatever you want. But I do feel as though the message has gotten through to the room that, we got to get it done this year. And I can't believe I'm going to ask you this question. Like, let's rewind the tape back to last season, and we can just play it back. Is winning around enough to save Kyle Dubas's job? I think it is.
I think it is, too.
Yeah.
I think we are so desperate.
Yep.
We are so desperate. The second that happens, if it ever happens,
Where it'll be like we've won this.
If it ever happens, it will be probably one of the greatest feelings of your entire life if you're invested in this team like we are.
Yeah.
That's pathetic to say. That's pathetic, but it's true.
Yeah.
You will not feel better than knowing that you're going to watch another 4 games out of that team and another round against another opponent.
Yeah.
Maybe play someone out of their division. Like, I don't know.
So this brings us. So I put off talking about this for 17 minutes. I can't put it off anymore. We just talked about everything that's at stake. So that brings us to, you're banking on Matt Murray and Elias and Samsonov to take you to the promised land. And that is, I never remember a time in watching professional sports where an executive has rolled the dice on his career quite like Kyle Dubas has rolled the dice on Matt Murray and Ilya Samsonov. It's crazy. Now, I heard Pierre LeBrun on the radio today, and he's right. What else was he going to do? Who else was he going to get? And I acknowledge that. But, man, like what if we get into November and it's just Matt Murray can't stop a puck? What happens?
Last year, they went with Jack Campbell and Peter Mrazek. Jack Campbell was an unproven goaltender. He played half a good season.
All you got to do is ask an Oilers fan, Ryan, and they'll tell you that they just got the greatest goaltender that's ever played the position.
He played half a good season. So last year, you went in with a goalie who played half a good season, and you went with another goalie who had an awful reputation of having some really bad hockey games, and you went with a completely unproven rookie, and you went ahead and had the best regular season your team has had ever, points-wise. Matt Murray, I know Matt Murray's had his troubles, but Jack Campbell was 30 years old when he got to this team. He had no reputation. They traded him for nothing, for absolutely nothing. And look what happened. I'm not ready to throw this out the window yet. Am I stoked about it? No. Would I like to have Andre Vasilevsky in a Leaf jersey right now? Yes, but that's just not going to happen. He did the best he could, and technically on paper, Matt Murray's proved way more than Jack Campbell
Matt
ever
Murray's
did.
resume is far longer than Jack Campbell's.
And I know,
sorry, Oiler fans.
I know he's struggled a bit over the past couple of years, and he might struggle again.
You know what
and
bothers me?
He's also had some injury issues.
You know what bothers me about this conversation is will we're basically sitting here right now acknowledging that Matt Murray's a roll in the dice, but are also acknowledging that his resume is longer than Jack Campbell's. And I'll put this on our Instagram or TikTok, and some idiot who only hears what he wants to hear is going to be classic Leaf fans anointing Matt Murray.
Matt Murray might be the worst goalie in the world. He might be awful for all we know. I don't know. Who knows? We don't know. But who would have thought that Jack Campbell would have been this number one starter? The guy was a failure for 10 years. He was a first-round pick, and he did nothing. And he got traded to the Leafs, and he played pretty well. Did he win the Vezina? No. But he played well enough for Leaf fans to be comfortable for him to be a number one starter. Like, how do you know Ilya Samsonov's going to come here and not do that? It's just, I'm just not ready to just like throw all the negativity right now. It's let's see what happens. And if it does happen, then you can just laugh at me and be like, I told you so. But it's just like, let's not pretend like we had the best tandem in the world last year. We had two absolute roll the dices. One, and Campbell played like crap half the year, and he was injured. He was awful. He was the worst goalie in the NHL for like a month.
Yeah.
And Peter Mrazek was a disaster from the start.
We had Eric Shulgren making several starts for this team last year.
I just don't get, like, what are you comparing this to? Like, last year was the same thing. I'm not in this conversation. Like, they rolled the dice last year. It worked. So they're doing it again. We're going to sign Jack Campbell to that contract? No. Ugh.
All right.
Let's see what happens, man. I'm willing to give these guys a shot. I'm willing to give these guys a shot.
I put together some rapid fire questions for you that I want you to answer. Ready? So you already answered this one, so I'll ask you again. Okay. Nathan McKinnon just signed an 8-year, $100 million contract with an AAV of $12.6 million. The next cap hit for Auston Matthews will be
I'm gonna say $14.5 million.
I think you're pretty bang on with that.
I don't know how many years yet, but I'm gonna say the AAV, the number that people are gonna care about the most is gonna be $14.5 million.
The Maple Leafs regular season starts on October 12th. Will Nick Robertson be in the opening night lineup?
Well, I know Engvall's kind of hurt right now.
Engvall, he might be ready to go at the start of the season.
Yeah. But I just don't think that Sheldon Keefe likes him. I don't. I think he thinks he's small, and you know what? He is small. I'm going to say no.
Let's keep with the in-roster decisions. Will John Tavares and William Nylander be on the same line for the bulk of the season?
Yes.
Yeah, you think so? You think they're going to make that work? I don't. I think that's the wrong move. Those guys, the proof is in the pudding. Those guys can't play together. They don't have any chemistry.
Yeah. I just think they love Marner and Matthews together. I don't think they want to break that up. I don't think their two best players want to play together, and they have a ball playing together. So I don't think they're going to break that up unless it's an absolute disaster.
Well, there's also the matter of who plays on the other wing, right? Like right now, everyone goes to Alex Kerfoot, but I go Alex Kerfoot.
They don't have the best like wingers.
No,
man.
the wing depth is not great.
They don't have
some guys watching this right now going, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, but I mean, I guess they haven't really upgraded. I mean, I guess last year wasn't much of an upgrade than this year, but it's just you look at the roster and you're just like, I don't know. Hopefully, someone just plays above their capability and has a special year like Michael Bunting had for most of the year last year. Hopefully, they get that performance out of somebody, because the names don't get me that excited. They do not. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I just think the number one priority is Marner and Matthews together, and I think it's going to stay that way until it goes really bad.
By January 1st, the Maple Leafs' number one goaltender will be...
Is it because of injury or performance?
Performance.
Ugh. I'm going to say Matt Murray.
I knew you were going to say Matt Murray.
But I also see Samsonov having a stretch at some point this season.
Yes.
Whether it's through injury or Murray not playing that well or him playing well enough to earn the net back. But I'm just going to go with Matt Murray because I have a weird feeling that they just like love this guy.
Yeah, and
I know he's their only option, but I feel like they actually really like having this guy.
I think they're going to give him every opportunity to try and figure this out because I
Yeah.
think they want to go with the veteran guy, and we know how much Kyle loves his guys from the Sioux. And I think you're right though. I could see him scuffling and Samsonov taking the net.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm going to rephrase the question, game 1 against
Yeah.
the Florida Panthers.
Hard to predict.
Yeah.
I could see it going either way. I don't know. Because like I don't know. I don't know a lot about Samsonov. I know he was pretty like highly touted, and
He was
people
first round pick.
had a lot of nice things to say about him and how he's going to be a stud, and it just didn't pan out. But he wouldn't be the first guy that didn't pan out for, and they went somewhere else and had some success.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I like how he's still young. Like, you know, it's not like he's old. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with Matt. I'm just gonna say Matt Murray because I don't know anything about Samsonov. I don't know what to expect from him. I don't know what he's gonna do, but I'll go with Murray.
Will Rasmus Sandin be in the opening night lineup?
Hmm.
He better be.
So you have Brody, Riley, Muzzin, and Giordano are like for sure.
Yep.
Like those 4 guys are 100% playing. And then
Lilligren's hurt.
Then you got Hull.
Yep.
And you got Jordy Ben now.
And what's his
and Victor Mete.
Victor Mete, yes.
So I did like what they did with like I know these guys are not stud NHLers, but they have played in the NHL.
Yes.
So I like how if a guy goes down or somebody's hurt, they have NHL-ish defensemen to step in. It's not a guy you've never seen in your life before. I'm gonna say no.
No? You
No.
think? Yeah. Little
I'm gonna say no.
Are you going out to get a Cali Yarncroc jersey?
No.
I'm shocked that they gave him 4 years. This team doesn't hand out 4-year deals.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
Again, have I watched every single shift out of that guy for the past couple of years? No.
Yep.
Do I recognize his name and seen him play? And is he the worst hockey player I've ever seen? No.
Cali Yarncroc is this year's David Kampf and Andre Kasha.
Yeah, but
where it's like we didn't know anything about them last year.
No, I wouldn't say that. Like I honestly would say I had no idea who David Kampf and Andre Kasha was. Literally 365 days ago, I was laughing at those 2 names because I'd never heard them in my life. And both of them played pretty well. I know Cali Yarncroc. He's been in the NHL for a while. He's played for a couple different teams. He's coming with a heavier price tag than those other 2 guys.
Yes, and 4 years.
They haven't
I
really
fell over when I saw they gave a guy 4. Kyle Dubas doesn't give anybody term.
They haven't really signed like a mid-tier winger like that in a long time. I'm trying to think. I'm sure it's staring me right in the face, but so it is kind of odd. Basically, he's trying to replace Ilya Mikheyev. Like that's basically the spot you're trying to fill in. And I don't think Ilya Mikheyev was the greatest hockey player of all time, but he was a great penalty killer. He had speed. He could forecheck. He did have some hands. I know the 1 year he didn't score any goals, but he did have some hands. So it's just that's your Ilya Mikheyev replacement at a cheaper price tag than what Mikheyev's getting paid in Vancouver.
Yeah, it's a 4-year, $8.4 million deal, 2.1 cap hit.
That's not that bad.
That's not that bad, but it's the term that got me. Anyways, last one to
It's
bring us
a
on.
name. I know him.
Yeah.
It's not like I've never heard of this guy before.
Anyways, last one to bring us on home. Have you recovered from the Leafs adding the milk logo to the corner of the sweater?
What?
You don't know about this?
No.
Folks, Ryan's learning. This shows you how much Ryan works during the day and doesn't pay attention to social media.
Milk.
So, here, I'll show you. So, they're adding sponsors to the sweaters this year.
I haven't seen that anywhere.
The Leafs are putting milk on their sweater.
What does it look like?
I don't think it looks that bad. People on Twitter were up, like, and I get it, like, preserve the sanctity of the sweater. But it's like, the NHL needs...
Shut up.
The NHL needs... Oh, dude, there were some people on Twitter...
Man, the sweater.
There were some people on Twitter who were so upset.
Hockey's a business.
Yes.
And business needs to make money.
Yes, and the NHL doesn't make money the way the other businesses do. So they throw.
Yeah.
See, look.
Does it just say milk?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's dairy farmers of
What they have? Didn't they have TikTok on their
TikTok on their
uniforms?
helmet.
Oh, helmets. Yeah.
I listen. As far as jersey
Cares, man?
sponsorships go,
It's barely you don't notice it.
yes. Oh, there were some.
I haven't seen anything about the milk. I've seen everything about the goal song.
Oh,
The
yes.
goal song is all over my feed. Should we change the goal song? Goal song this, goal song that. I've not seen the milk.
Hall and Oates has to go.
I agree. It's time for a new goal song.
Yes, Hall
Just
and Oates
not
has to go.
cool.
Yes, it's
Just
not.
not a cool song.
No, it's not. It's not cool at all. But yeah, there you have it.
Milk.
It's
Nice.
not bad. As far as jersey patches and sponsorships go, that's pretty inoffensive if you ask me.
Just a milk order from elementary school.
Yeah.
Milk
Chocolate.
days. Yeah.
Did anyone ever get regular?
Yeah, I never trust a guy who got regular
Yeah.
milk in his milk order.
Yeah. No.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get like a special thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to go with chocolate. But you never know if that kid's parents were like weirdos.
Yeah,
And we're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, we don't want
You
you to
get
have
your
chocolate
bone
milk.
strong with
Yeah.
regular milk.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good promotion.
yeah. The Habs one, look at the Habs one.
I
The
feel like-
Habs one is horrendous.
I felt like when you were a kid, people harped on you to drink milk.
yes.
So maybe this is a good way for parents to tell their children to drink milk.
look,
Because
the
Auston
Habs-
Matthews has it on his sweater.
The Habs have this freaking giant RBC logo. Look at that.
I actually don't mind it.
You don't mind it.
Yeah, it kind of like fits in with the sweater. I don't know.
Eh.
It kind of looks habby. Like that
Habby.
logo looks a little habby.
Yeah,
Like,
it does.
I don't know.
It does. Anyways, we're back.
Yeah,
We'll be back. We're back on our usual schedule twice a week. We're going to have a bunch of new stuff this year. Got a whole new set.
Yeah.
We wedged ourselves in here. We were like, we gotta switch things up.
Yes,
this year.
absolutely. We need
And
to step it up, be more professional.
yep, and we did it. And
This is it.
looking forward to it.
This is episode 1 of season 5.
Buckle in
Yeah.
for another Toronto Maple Leaf season. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button below. Whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, we really appreciate it. Leave a comment, leave a review. We also love that engagement. We'll see you guys next week.